No, the play sounds absolutely hilarious, and with plays, we never get to see, the blooper reels. With movies, it's all being recorded. During rehearsals, is there anything noteworthy that happened during rehearsals that you can share?
There's a lot of stuff happens on stage every night.
Yes, it does.
Well, I'll tell you what happened on stage the other night in Johannesburg, where Bo Peterson, who plays our adopted sister, Sonia, she in a peak of fit, throws a coffee cup against the wall and smashes it. She actually throws two. And the one night she threw it and it didn't break. The handle came off, but the coffee cup bounced off the wall, over the sofa, bounced twice, and ended up in the front row of the audience.
How do you keep a straight face at that moment?
Well, you just have to.
And the other
that was very
night
interesting.
in Johannesburg, when Spike is doing his reverse striptease, that's putting his clothes back on, he does this sort of maneuver with his belt, and the belt snapped and broke. And I really wanted to laugh. I had to bite my cheeks because you can't laugh.
No,
It just doesn't work if you laugh, because then you just break it. But it was very funny. I was sort of giggling inside. It was
I had to try and put my belt back on to carry on with the piece, and the front of the belt had snapped off. So I tried to close it, but I couldn't. So my belt was left open while I was trying to finish the scene.
Oh my god!
It was really funny. I think it was a little distracting for all of us, but we kept it going.
You've just got to ignore that sort of thing and just keep going, because maybe some of the audience haven't noticed it.
You know what? I was on stage and I didn't notice it. I only
Didn't you notice?
Absolutely.
That is great.
I only knew when Richard came off and he told me. I said, oh. Because I said, what have you got in your hand? He said, my belt.
I had to put the other piece in my pocket.
Jeez. A lot of the time, the audience doesn't notice if you just carry on.
Yeah.
But it is, I wanted to say, I mean, Masha arrives and they all have to go off to this costume party, and they all end up wearing these very weird costumes.
She's dressed as
from
Snow White. For the Disney version. I'm dressed as one of the dwarves.
Oh my god.
And Richard is Prince Charming.
Of course.
Of
very
course.
funny. Oh, yes.
I'm going to start with Richard. Richard, what's your favorite part in the play, without giving away too much?
Spike has this crazy audition that he was auditioning for the sequel to Entourage. It's a running joke throughout the play.
Entourage 2.
And that definitely is one of my highlights of the show.
That sounds exciting. What's your highlight from the show, Michael?
Well, I have a rather incredible speech towards the end of the play. It's a very long speech. It's about 5 pages long, where he goes off on a rant about what happens as Richard receives an email while we're trying an SMS while we're trying to do a little play I've written on stage, and my character Vanya absolutely flips about this. It's terribly rude, and he goes into a whole thing about how the world has changed and how he doesn't like it, and it's a wonderful speech, and it's a great thing for me.
Wow, 5 pages. I couldn't even remember the intro to this piece.
Well, the way I remember that is in order of appearance. So I'm lucky because I come on first. So it's Vanya, and then Sonia comes on, then Masha, and then Spike.
Okay.
And
that will work for me after I've seen the play.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what's your favorite moment?
Well, it's quite difficult, really, because Masha kind of drives the whole thing, and before I know it, it's like interval, and then you start again. I can't really pick a favorite part.
Oh, I think for me, my favorite was when you do the whole actor bit about how famous you were, and you do the whole.
Well, she talks about. She's had a famous acting teacher help her. She's a movie star, but she's never been a classical actress on the stage, and that's what she feels she should have been. But I don't think she's actually very good, and, because she's gone straight from wherever and has just done these really bad movies.
Sexy killer movies.
Sexy killer movies.
Oh, yeah.
There's a market for that.
Yes, there is. And she's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But she describes it as, fame, thou glittering bauble, and then she feels she should have been cast in The Three Sisters, which is a Chekhov play. And she goes into this, she has this teacher that teaches her these different techniques, which she does, and she performs them badly.
It's ridiculous.
And it's very, very silly and very funny. It is fun to do, I have to say.
Now, you guys have performed in Grahamstown and Joburg, and now you're in Cape Town. What has the audience reaction been like? I'm sure they've been laughing on the edge of their seats, but what kind of comments have you gotten from them?
People have laughed and cried. That's what I've got. They've become so involved in the story and the journey of the characters, and identified.
Wow.
with
Yeah.
it, I think.
Absolutely, it's as I said, it's a journey to play in a weird way of two halves, where the first is a lot of comedy, and then slowly in the second act it winds down to something a little bit more serious, a little bit more whimsical, and it touches people. So well, it's great. So people have a good laugh, and they also
Have a cry, so
some
they
of
get
them
in
have a
touch with their emotions.
Wow.
And that's life, really, laughing and crying.
It's true, Masha?
I just think that there's a truth to the piece. We can all laugh and cry in our everyday lives, and I think the audience just find truth in all of our characters, and they see a little bit of themselves in each one, and that's what I find that's really beautiful about the piece.
Last night in my speech, you heard the audience go,
That's lovely. It is actually quite nice when you hear. There was last night when we had that sort of end embrace thing, the
yes.
the siblings,
the reconciliation at the end.
and you hear people going, oh,
Sweet.
oh,
That's
so
sweet.
nice, and that is lovely.
Well, thank you guys all for coming in and
Thank
showing the
you.
play with me. I'm very excited to see it.
And we run
Great.
at the
We're on the Theatre on the Bay until the 6th
6th
of
of September.
September.
All right, well, you can see Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike in Cape Town at the Theatre on the Bay. These guys will be performing there until the 6th of September.